could have her.
Hello from the other side.
Now presenting Channeling Erik's Hour of Enlightenment.
I just love the way that guy enunciates so clearly. Okay, before we go on with the show, I welcome you guys to the Hour of Enlightenment, Erik's Hour of Enlightenment. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad to have Michelle Gray as our wonderful host. And I will tell you what I've been doing in my spare time, which is not very much, but I have been watching the Sidney Poitier movies, everything. I mean, To Serve with Love, oh, God, the Patch of Blue, I mean, Brother John. He is so amazing. Oh, guess who's coming to dinner? You know, he just passed on, and we're collecting questions so that we can interview him. And also, we just did, and I don't know if it's posted yet, the 2022 predictions. And we're going to, we have a lot of cool interviews and stuff coming up. So you guys need to click on the notification bell for not only Atlanta Scalar, but also Channeling Erik, and subscribe. You don't want to miss any of the stuff that's coming up. It's amazing. Yes, Michelle. Hi, Erik. I love you.
Erik says, hi, Mama. I love you. And he says, hi, everybody. Blowing kisses. He's blowing kisses.
Well, of course he is. Anyway, today we're talking about letting go. It's one of the hardest challenges for me, for sure. Letting go. Is it important? What and why? And how can we do this emotionally, mentally, and physically so that we can feel lighter and grow? So, yeah, Erik, I will leave the ball in your court. What's up, dude?
Well, Erik's like, thank you. He says, I got to tell you, when we were first starting to talk about this, and so we've been doing this thing lately where Erik and I have had this little huddle, and we have guests in that coming up in the next little bit. For some of these shows, you know, we're talking about our topics and what should we talk about. And often he picks a topic that is like a theme that's been coming up for a lot of people. And he said, this is something that many of us, he goes, there's something many of us humans really struggle with. And he said, if you let that all bung up, because you're going to have a lot of trouble letting that shit go. And he's giving me a lot of visuals of that. But he said, the thing is that, yeah, it's funny because, I don't know if it's funny, it's kind of gross, but Erik uses shit as a lot of examples for things. You like to see that.
Logically human.
Yeah. But he says, no, really, like, a lot of us have that struggle with letting something go. And letting go, so he says, like, what do we mean by that? And he says, well, like, letting go of whether it's hurt or pain, trauma, a situation. Sometimes it's trying to let go of what somebody did something to us, or, for forgiveness, or even letting go of something for ourselves. Like we may have done something, or we feel we're holding ourselves accountable and not able to let it go. And he says that what it is it's the energy of us being fixed on something. So he says it's us taking our focus, and we're letting that focus run a cycle, and it starts to soak up all of our energy. Wow. And so what he also says is, he says holding on emotionally and mentally. And he says, so let's say you're unable to forgive, or you're unable to let go of a situation. He says, the thing is, guys, he goes, it's not really us, or it's not really them that we're holding hostage. He says it's us. It's us that we hold hostage. And how many times have we all heard, he says, when you hear, forgiveness is not really about them. It's about you. And he says, and this is exactly where this applies to, he says that it's also belief system. So he says, for example, if we're upset at someone or we're holding a grudge that belief system could be, he says, okay, it could be, I believe that if I forgive this person, or if I let this go, then I'm letting that person, or I'm saying that it's okay that they did this thing to me, or it's okay that this thing happened to me. And he says, and it's not that at all. That's not the truth. He says, what it really is it's saying, I'm no longer going to allow this situation or this feeling hold me hostage anymore. So he says that this is an opportunity for us to look at the belief system that may be attached to it. And he says, you know, we as human beings tend to hold on to things from our past. In some cases, hold on to things way too long, way past their stale date, and we hold it. He says that it's like holding it in our vibrational field, because he says that when we hold on to things, and usually it's resentment, that's what it shows up as, and when we carry it for long enough, he says, this is when it starts to show up in the physical body. So he says, remember, guys, it comes in as an energy. It comes in with an experience. It comes in with a situation, a trauma, something that holds us, and then we remember it. He goes, then we go into the mental cycle. He says, as human beings, we like to pick things apart and try to understand them and, you know, pull it all out. And he says, but what happens is when we're not able to let it go, when we're holding on to it to try and figure it out, to put understanding to us, he says, when it's carried for a long time, that's when it begins to affect the physical body. And he says, so for example, resentment, guys, he goes, that shows up as pain in the body, usually in the joints. And he says one of the most common things it shows up as is arthritis.
Wow.
So he says, think about that and think about how that might be affecting some of you that are listening here. But he says, one of the big things
Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Does resentment have to be from something that occurred in this life, or could it have occurred in another life?
He said that if it's connected to another life, it's usually something that's triggered. So, for example, let's say there's somebody in this lifetime that you had an altercation with in another lifetime. He says, so you may not understand that you may not recognize this, but what it is it might make the situation a little more intense. You might have feelings towards somebody where you can't let something go, and it's connected to another lifetime. And he goes, and this is something that would happen. He goes, Mom, like this is when somebody might really benefit from going into like a past life regression or something of that sort, when they're having difficulty letting go. And he says, and we're going to talk a little bit about some things that we can do to help us let go. But he says, when we're doing those things and they're not working, or we need a little more help, so then we can start to use some of these tools to go in to help us do it. But he goes, that's a really good point, because those things do happen. He goes, just like, you know, we may not always consciously understand where it comes from. Feeling a lot of times it is connected in to another lifetime.
Well, this is interesting because I could personally, I have a personal experience. You know, my younger sister, you know, was never around for my parents. She lived in another state, so of course. I was the one that always took care of my parents. Always. Changing colostomy bags, taking to the doctor's office, cleaning their garbage, all that, cooking the meals. I was very devoted to my parents, even in spite of the childhood they gave me. I felt it was the right thing to do. But my sister, after my mother died, in the very last couple of months of my father's life, lived with him and fed him a bunch of lies and browbeat him into giving her, the one that never was there, all of his millions and nothing to any of the other sisters, me and my other sister. And I had so much resentment. But then I did have that expression. I found out where it's coming from. I mean, there's many times where this person had betrayed me, and I understood what the lesson was about forgiveness and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's helped me let go of that resentment forever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
much poorer because of it, but that's okay. It's only money,
Yeah.
Family is more
Yeah.
than money. So yeah, I can understand. I totally get what you're saying, Erik. So,
Yeah.
Erik, what kind of diseases besides arthritis can you see in people that have trouble letting go, surrendering? Which is it sounds so relieving, but it's so hard. But go ahead, what?
He says heart disease.
Mm.
He says problems in the liver.
Mm.
He says that the heart disease often connected to the resentment and grief. He said the liver is, he says, inability to be able to filter, to be able to filter out the emotions and to let go of them. He also says problems in the kidneys and bowels. The kidneys, he says, that's where we will hold on to not being able to experience the sweetness in life. Diabetes and things like that. He says kidney stones, inflammation in the body, headaches.
Which is behind so many diseases, really.
Yeah, he says that there's a lot of things. He says it can accumulate, he says, also dependent on what the situation is. So he says it's different for everybody, because if you look at is it guilt towards yourself? He goes, often when we're holding in guilt, he goes, that's something that...
So like resentment of self, almost.
Yes. And he says, and when we have pain, if somebody's hurt us deeply emotionally, that tends to relate to heart disease and problems in the heart. And so he says we've got two different areas. We've got the spiritual version of every organ and the physical version. And so when we're hurt emotionally, then it's connected to the spiritual. And then when that's not dealt with, it then eventually, he says, think of it like plaque on the heart, like it hardens into the organ. And then if you've got something predisposed, whether it's from another lifetime or something in your DNA or something hereditary in your family, that's when it becomes active. He also says some cancer as well. He's pointing me out as an example. He's saying, Michelle, he goes, you're a prime example of this. He says, you held on to resentment that was in your heart, and it was not being able to be yourself, not being able to feel yourself, not speaking your truth, and you had a lot of hurt. And he says, and that manifested as breast cancer on the left-hand side, which was connected to the heart.
Yeah.
So he says there's a lot of different things, so it depends on the actual, situation that you're in. What are you predisposed to? How are you caring for yourself overall? What are the things? Like, is it your family? Is it relationships? Is it stressors? Is it trauma? He says it all has different areas that it could affect you. And so he says it's important that when you're releasing it, he goes, you don't necessarily have to understand all of that. But he says once you've gotten to the point where it's affecting you physically, then it helps you walk through it backwards so that you can let it go.
Is that what you did?
Yes. Wow. Yes, and that was a process for me. And, of course, I didn't understand that in the beginning. But as I went along on my own journey, and, Erik would feed me little bits and pieces and direct me and help me understand why I had the ailments that I did. Why? Because I am a prime example of holding on to resentment, because I was the perpetual people pleaser. And I was pleasing people to the detriment of myself, and allowing people to, just, it doesn't matter to me, just do whatever you want, or I'm easy, it doesn't matter. And the thing is that was maybe true to an extent, but what was happening was I wasn't making decisions for myself. I wasn't honoring myself. I wasn't respecting myself, and that was creating a deep resentment within me. And so that was coming out with all kinds of illnesses. And here's the other thing, too, because Erik says, this is kind of brings us to the next point, is he says that why is it so hard to let go? Because I went on that way for a very long time.
Yeah.
Holding on like that.
Why is it? That's so important.
He says that the reason why it's so hard to let go is, he says, because the pain it becomes a cycle. So he says it's part of the ego, and he says we start to identify with it.
Oh, yeah.
And he says when we identify it, it's like, then he says, it's like, I'm like this because they did this to me, and therefore I have to do this. And I can't do this because it's
a secondary gain of being a victim, right?
Yes.
In a way.
Victim mentality. That's exactly what it is. Because when we can't let go of something, and we become almost, Erik says it's like an addiction. Really, it's like a codependency on the pain, because we start to lean on that as our reasons for everything, our reasons for not being able to move forward. He said, for me, that was one of the biggest things that held me back. I was like, I can't do anything past this. This is where I'm at. I'm just, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I pulled the sheets up over my head for 30 days and cried.
God.
You know, because I was like, that's it. My life is done. It's over. And I mean, I had to go through that, right? I had to. That was my rock bottom. But he said that once we understand, so once we can say, okay, I realize I've got to let go of something. Because we as human beings like to attach meaning to everything, he says, adding as one more thing of why it's so hard to let go, because we have to attach meaning. And he says that then once we choose and understand, okay, I've got to let go of this. He's like, I got to let this shit go. It's hurting me mentally, emotionally, physically. It's time to let this go. He says, then we can put it to action. And then the action is, first of all, identifying that there's something to let go of. And he goes, and sometimes that can take some humility. That can take some getting real with ourselves.
Yeah.
He goes, and you know, sometimes it's looking at, what am I avoiding? What excuses am I making? And he says, once you're able to get to that point, and he says, and then whatever your subject matter is, once you can decide you've got to let it go, he goes, then you can start to look at the support that you have to be able to let it go. And this is interesting, because he says, when we talk about cycles, because he goes, remember, everything is in cycles. If we look at our whole spiritual path and our life, it's all in cycles. He goes, well, what cycles come around every month to help us be able to let go? He says the moon. The moon is often new starts, new beginnings, new cycles. Whenever there's a release, there's a new beginning. He says, so universal energies is something that we also, he says, just to kind of let out there and understand, know that universally there's support in us doing this and letting go, because our nature as human beings are to be able to go in flow. And flow means that we're always going to have things that are going to come up, but the better that we get at identifying them and understanding them, the easier it will be to let go of things, because we're not meant, he says, to hold on to them. We're meant to observe them and let them flow through us. So he says that when we understand that there's universal support, he says often synchronicities will come forth to bring things forward to us. He's pointing me out again, and he's saying, right, Michelle, because when you don't want to let go of shit, Michelle, he goes, it comes and hits you over the head like a 2x4, doesn't it? And it does. No. And right, and many of us can attest to that. If we're avoiding, holding on, then we're going to have circumstances, and it's going to get louder and louder and louder until we're like, okay. And he goes, and that's surrender. We get to the point where we're ready to surrender.
Right.
Yeah.
So
go
ahead.
No, he was just going to start talking about what we can do.
Wait, but I want to say that, as you know, oh, hi, Scout. As you know, recently I had somebody, I did free relief from atherosclerosis. I mean, it's really not, I mean, it could be a custom service, scanner service. And I got an email from her the other day saying that she went in for her checkup, and the coronary blockages are gone. And she had
Whoa.
2 scars in her myocardium, and they're all gone. And the doctors are freaking out. So it's
Wow.
it's amazing. I mean, I know scalar energy work does work, but this was really, that's a lot of energy to move around. To cure somebody of coronary artery disease or any atherosclerotic disease, and reverse myocardial scarring. I mean, that's a whole new lease on life for her. So I'm really in a good mood the last couple of days. But yes, okay. So awesome. How do we let go? Give you some practical tips, Erik.
Yeah, he says, he goes, you got it, Mama. He goes, I'm ready. I'm ready to give you the practical. He says, of course, acceptance. He says acceptance, that there's something ready to surrender. And then he says, so what we can do is, he says, we can write. He says any type of journaling, writing, being present with yourself, being in the moment. He says meditation. He says it's really awesome if we're able to, because even if you can sit quietly and hold what it is that's bothering you in your awareness. So he says, like, really just spend 5 minutes, and he says, and face it. He goes, because often not being able to let go is we're not really facing it for what it is. We're rerunning it. We're picking it apart. He goes, but can we take that situation and can we look at it? Can we actually sit with the discomfort of it and then be ready to say goodbye to it? He goes, maybe put some visualization to it. He says, are we cutting cords from it? Are we writing a letter to the pain, to the situation, crumpling it up and burning it? He says, like, are we doing something that we're giving some physical action to it so that allows us to go through that releasing process? He also said affirmations, because he says, remember, it's a cycle. When we're having things continuously coming up and coming up and coming up, he says, can we find some affirmations or some things that we can kind of stop because a lot of it is a rerun. We can choose consciously, yes, I'm going to let go and do all of that. But he says, when it comes up, we can remind ourselves, no, this is a habit. This is something that's coming up as a cycle. It's not really coming up because it's still a problem. And so he says, can we put an affirmation to it that we say to remind ourselves that we've let go of it, to remind ourselves of the work that we've done. And he also says going outside. He says refocusing, disconnecting from the circumstance. If there's something that triggers us with it, if it brings it up, he goes, where can we put the attention elsewhere? And he says nature is one of the best things to be able to do because it's very grounding and it pulls us right out of our head, gets us right into the body. And he says music. Music does the same. Music as well.
I watched a great documentary recommended by one of you guys called The Alpinist, and it's about Marc-André Declercq. He's a Canadian. Mm-hmm. Do you know him?
Mm-mm.
Anyway, he's a solo climber. I mean, he would just like go with nothing but his own body up these cliffs. It's crazy, and apparently the person said that he reminded him of Erik, and I agree. Homeschooled by his mom and all that stuff, and oh my God, it's such a special. I can't remember why I even brought that up, but I know why. Because he said that when he was doing what he did, solo climbing, that was when he was totally in the moment. Totally, he had to be, because otherwise he'd die. And so there's so many ways to be in the moment. Breath work, for example, etc. Yeah, so that's we're collecting questions for that interview. It's going to be pretty cool. Did Betty White.
Mm-hmm.
You guys check it out.
Yes.
It's on yet, but that's pretty cool. Anything else, Erik, about this topic before we take callers? Oh, no, I want to say something. Wait, I want one more thing. Another thing that has helped me, I can't attest to helping everybody, but when I suffer from not being able to let go, is to try to find a lesson in it, because there's always a lesson. And then saying, thank you for that lesson. I embrace it. I'm grateful for it. And then it's so much easier to let it go. So there's that.
Yes.
I've presented my childhood so much for so long as a young adult, a child and young adult. But then when I really realized what I really got out of it, which is a lot of stuff, then, I was like, thank God I went through this. I'm so happy, because I don't know who I would be if I had not gone. I would probably be a shallow, selfish bore. So that helps too. So if you are having trouble letting go of something, try to figure out what the lesson is. Like with my sister, it was about the opportunity to forgive, which is a special gift for yourself, actually, not the other person. So think about that. Anything else, Erik, before we go on?
No, he just said he agrees with you. He says, Mom, that is the biggest. He says that is amazing to share, that finding the lesson in it. And he goes, and it might take a bit to get to that, but if you're open and you're willing, it will come to you. And I can attest personally myself too, that being able to understand the lesson in what's happening, even if it doesn't come right away, like he says, it really helps to be able to release it, because it gives purpose to why it took place. And we know when we get the lesson in it, we can feel it, he says, in our body. We know that that's right. And that really helps us to be able to release it. And he also just adds, he's like, and don't forget to be compassionate with yourself. Yeah. He goes, we tend to go through these things and we hold ourselves hostage in so many ways. And he says, so it's really important to remind ourselves to be compassionate with how we talk to ourselves through this, and, giving ourselves a break. But he says, other than that, he says, his message to everybody is let that shit go.
Let that shit show go. All right, let's go and take callers. I got one. Right. I got one from the first numbers are 6142. Hi there, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi there. What's up?
Hi. My name's Amanda from Australia.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
And I've got a call through on the Atlanta Scalar YouTube thing on Thursday. I spoke to you by email, but that's all improved a bit now, so I won't talk about that now.
Okay.
But I've got the other thing that's been on my mind for a long time is I've got two cousins, or three cousins from the same family. Two were twins. One committed suicide when he was 20 or 21, I always forget, and the other twin, committed suicide about a year ago.
Oh.
Right, at the age of 40 or something. Like 20 years later. And I'm really close to their sister, who's my age, and she's also been through a lot of difficulty. She had suicidal thoughts, and she had alcoholism and a lot of addictions, and she's improved a lot. I've helped her a bit, and she's sort of gotten through it. But I just want to know the spiritual lesson for that. I mean, the family have had so much difficulty and tragedy. They've got the best parents, wonderful parents. But
is it a spiritual lesson? Is it ancestral DNA? I mean, and also, what is it that you wanted to ask about scalar energy bed?
Oh, just that my boyfriend was quite aggressive and angry after.
Oh, yes.
And I emailed you, but you said that you'd get Erik and the team to try and help him, and for me to ask as well. And the next morning he was so much better. So immediately it had an effect. And when I did have the scalar energy portal work done, like immediately he was different, and I noticed some other things as well. So yeah, that's been amazing. But I'm guessing with him it's going to be quite a long healing. He's got a lot of layers of stuff.
Erik knows, but Michelle, I told her, but Michelle, to give you some background, Amanda and her boyfriend did quite well, but then when she told him about the portal work, he backtracked. He got a bit angry, annoyed that I did that. Help, and he got better. So do you want to make a comment on that, Erik?
And I think like you're saying, I think like you're saying, people hang on to their pain like an addiction, and I think that he does that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Erik just says that this was, there was like a sense of freedom for him, because what came up first, he says that was part of the ego. So it was a bit of a breakthrough, because he says that was, as much as it looks like something that was like a deficit, that was a problem, he says that was actually the process of being able to break through the ego for him. So it was like being able to express that, and that was like holding on for him was being able to express that, and then there was a breakthrough. And Erik says because there's a line of freedom. He shows it like just like something cracked right through.
Okay, great.
So what about the family situation?
For this family, okay. See what he says here. He says there is some past life stuff there, but he says that the purpose in this lifetime has to do with relationships, not only the relationship between the twins, but also in the family that's left, and it's connected to courage, being able to work through it.
Okay. Is it spiritual contract stuff? Or
it is
ancestral DNA or what?
What he says is it's is one not being able to be without another, because he shows the two twins as being connected. That this was, if one went, so I'll see if I can explain this right, because he says if one made the decision to leave, the other one would follow.
Oh.
And the purpose was about those that are left behind. It's what they're experiencing in their relationships. And he also says about support that either they've had or that's coming in for them. Relationships and connections. So possibly for the sister, because he shows support around her, being able to help her. And he says the theme of it, like the underbelly of it, is courage. That's what the lesson is for her. It's courage.
Okay, right. Mhm.
Well, it sounds like you knew.
Could anything have been done? Sorry.
I think
say that again.
It would probably behoove you to get a full session with Michelle or one of the other mediums, because really delving into all this family stuff, it's really important to find out what the lessons are, what each person is here to teach, et cetera, and to learn. So I think
there's some complexity to it. There's some complexity to it. There's a female in spirit that I can also feel connected to you as well as you're talking. An older female.
Okay. So is that maybe their sister or in spirit, you mean, or here?
Would this be grandmother, your grandmother? So would this be great grandmother to the twins?
Oh, yeah, could be grandmother to the twins. Yeah, my Oma.
Yes.
Selma. Okay.
Yes.
So does she have a message?
There's she's guiding the sister.
Oh,
she's
okay.
The sister. She's also got twins with her.
Oh,
okay.
They're both boys. Twins are both boys.
Yes. Mhm.
All right. Well, we need to go on to the next caller. But I hope that helps you and maybe book a session with Michelle or one of the other mediums. It'd be great. I think you get a lot out of it, man. All right. So we have somebody from
Amanda.
212 area code. Yeah, thanks, Amanda. 212 area code. Hey there. Hi. What's up?
This is Bryn from New York City.
Hey, Bryn. What's up?
Bryn.
Oh, hey. It's been a kind of loaded time for me. I have a bad tooth, and my cat Simba has not been eating for about 4 days, and I really want to focus on him. If he's going to be okay, I'm taking him to the veterinarian tomorrow. He got sick a couple of days ago, just spitting up white fluid, and then he hasn't eaten. You know, he drinks a lot of water. I just
so what's going on? Eric, what can we do for him?
Okay. Did you say, Bryn, that he's drinking or he's not drinking?
He is. He has been drinking, not eating, but just drinking for the past 4 days.
Erik says that it is important that he goes to the vet. It seems like something that's affecting his full body. So I don't know if it's a virus or something. Let me just see.
Kidney disease?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
No, he's been diagnosed in the past with renal disease, so he's been living with that, but he's been functioning okay with that.
It's something stemming. It's something that's stemming from the kidneys. It's affecting his full body.
All right. So is he going to make it?
Well, that's not really something like Erik's not really saying whether that's the time for him or not, but he's just saying it is important that he goes to the vet.
Which means it sounds like they can help. So
yes.
Take him to the vet.
I know Simba too, so I'll be sending healing to Simba.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Brandon, for healing. Okay,
thanks,
we got somebody from the 651 area code. Hi there. How you doing?
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Michelle.
Hey.
Hi, Erik.
Hi.
What's up, girl?
This is Lisa from Minnesota.
Lisa from Minnesota? Surrounded by Norwegians like my husband. Ha det bra, ha det så länge. Go ahead. God gott nytt år.
So
all right, I'll stop.
I've been having issues with my gut, and I've been trying to eat healthy. And I want to ask Erik if what am I doing or not doing.
With your stomach, he's lighting up your solar plexus area. He's actually showing me your hip area as well. Are you having problems in the hip?
Yes, on my left side.
He shows that you've got some inflammation in your stomach area. Although I have to tell you, the hip is what's coming forward more than the stomach area. Let's see what he says about that. Are you taking probiotics?
No.
Okay, he's recommending to take a probiotic. It's almost like there's a bacteria in your stomach. Because he keeps showing like inflammation and helping to release bacteria out of the stomach. He says it'd be beneficial for you to be able to take a probiotic.
Wait, is that also related to the inflammation in her hip?
Yes.
Well, what about the microbiome?
He's showing both of them.
What about scalar microbiome optimization?
Yes. Yes.
Would that be better or less effective than the probiotic?
He said the probiotic would be helpful and the scalar.
All right, I would try the probiotic first, and if it fails, then you can do the microbiome optimization. It's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And leaky gut and eradicate all the bad bacteria and, put back in the good bacteria. So it seems to be very effective. I had one lady,
help the body.
Yeah, I had one lady who said that she had abdominal pain for so long, and she had so many scans and scopes this way and that way. And when we did the scalar work on her, first time for 10 years that she didn't have abdominal discomfort. So it really does work. Mm. All right, so consider that. But I would try the probiotic first. I mean, it's cheap, and just try, see if it works.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay, got somebody from the 786 area code. What's up? How you doing? 786 area code, you there?
Hi, Elisa. It's Kenya. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing? What's up, girl? What you got for us?
Good, thank you. Yes, I just wanted to ask, my husband is trying to ask if he should keep his job that he currently has, or if it would be beneficial for him to switch jobs.
What's his first name? Is
there going to be any change in Carlos?
Carlos, okay. Carlos? What's his the first name, first initial of his last name?
Carlos Cruz.
Oh, Cruz, okay.
Uh-huh.
Big CC. All right, go ahead.
Erik is just saying, I'm not really sure what the circumstances are, because he's saying it's like I don't know if there's something that he's having right now, having a problem at work, because he's saying that like what's happening right now can be worked through. It can be worked through, and that he can stay at this job. Is there something going on there?
He feels that he's not being like his abilities are not being used to the fullest, so he's getting bored. And he was thinking to switch jobs to another person that he knows. The thing is, what this other person, he will have to work really, really, really many hours.
Okay, because what Erik is saying is like hold out a little bit longer.
A little bit longer.
Yeah, he says don't jump right away. To hold out a little bit longer. In the job that he's at.
Can Erik help with the situation at his current work, or get his guides and guardian angel to help too?
He says they're already on it.
Oh,
they're on
good.
it.
They're always on point.
Yeah.
That's awesome. They got your back. Thank you for calling.
They do. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. I clicked the wrong thing. 910 area code. What's up? How you doing?
This is Belinda from North Carolina.
Hey, Belinda.
Belinda.
What's up?
Hello,
girl?
sweet ladies.
Glad to hear from you again. What you got for us?
My fur baby passed away the 27th. And I asked Erik to take care of her. Ginger didn't get her.
Aww.
What's her name?
Okay.
Her name's Ginger.
Ginger.
She a kitty?
No, it's a cow.
Little dog, right?
Yeah.
Small dog, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so what Erik says, so your dad's in spirit? Your dad's in spirit, Belinda? Because Erik says that she's with your dad.
Oh.
Is with your dad. And Erik just wants to let you know, heard loud and clear, she's doing just fine. And feel for your bed, because she's still hopping up on your bed. She's coming up on your bed and laying with you.
Oh,
is she a licker? Was she a licker? Did she have a tongue that was just licking, like to lick?
Yeah, the slobbery licks, yes.
Because that's going on. You might feel a slight little tingle on your hand, or even on the side of your cheek, because that's what she's doing, coming up to you and doing that.
I feel something on my ankles too.
Yeah. She's trying to let you know that she's there. Exactly what it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
It was hard to let her go, but it was the best thing to let her go.
Yes. It was hard to do. It was hard to do, Erik says, but you did the right thing. You had to. And she knows that.
And she's happy and well and healthy.
She's doing very well. She's doing very well, and she loves your dad.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, honey.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I just don't know. When Bella dies, I don't know, man. I'm just going to
I know.
Oh,
I know.
3,
I understand
3,
so well.
Erik, yeah, you know. I mean, about our fur babies, we tend to outlive them, and it's so hard.
So hard.
But, grief is a price we pay for love. So, 303, Erik, what's your...
Hello?
Hi there, how you doing?
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. I agree about I agree about the animals 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to know whether there might be some guidance from the other side for me. A couple family members who I think might members who might have something to say to me. The holidays are extremely hard for me because I'm entirely painfully estranged from my family, and tomorrow is my is the birthday of my son. Well, he's an adult, he's an adult, and we're 100% estranged. It's extremely painful, and it will probably always be like that. So the holidays tomorrow sort of represents the end of months of the worst time of the year for me. So I'd like to know if there's anyone on the other side who knows, or who knows, because they're on the other side, what the whole situation is about, has anything to say to help me through tomorrow. Actually, it's today as well. But any words of wisdom?
Is your sister in spirit?
No, and she's part of. She is actually the. Oh God, I'm not going to say the word. No, she's responsible.
Okay.
She's responsible for what happens in a lot of this.
Okay.
So that's why
she is like the main culprit.
I'm picking up. Okay, female in spirit. So this will be your mom.
She's on the other side, but she's not allowed in any response to anything in my life.
Could you give me?
What? I'm sorry.
Could you give me a name?
I will not even allow her to communicate
that's okay.
at all.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's okay. So, could you give me a name to who you'd like to hear from, or I can give you the message because Erik's giving me information. He's giving me a message for you.
It cannot be from my mother. She is disallowed. I have a grandmother that I know watches over quite a bit named Ruth, and I have a father named Scott, and I have a grandfather named Olin. So it could be any of those three, I think, would be the most likely to have something of significance to say to me at this time.
Well, why is your mother not allowed to communicate with you?
I'm not going to.
On the other side, that they have a different perspective.
No.
No. Okay.
Will not.
Because they
even
all their human foibles.
No.
Okay.
No.
So, So Ruth is the one that's stepping forward.
She
what
would
she's
do that.
talking about, yes, she's actually saying that she's coming forward as the motherly energy for you. So that's what she's identifying. Fine. Yeah, so that's what she's identifying. She's just saying that the judgment, so the pain, and she's directing this from the sister that's been directed towards you. She says, she goes, what's been put upon you is them, that it's not you. She says, to not hide behind, like, be yourself. She says, don't hide behind anything to hold yourself back or to whatever. And I don't know she says status, whatever status that they're trying to hold you up to, because it's very judgmental energy they've got towards you.
God.
No, that's not really. That's actually not really anything that. Well, actually, fortunately, doesn't apply here at all. Particularly with the key players in this scenario, you know.
Well, she's
somebody is.
There's judgment. So, however it applies, that's what's coming through. She also just says the most important thing for you to be towards yourself is unconditional love towards yourself.
Right.
Compassion towards yourself to help get through, because you are the very best thing for you.
All right, so Erik, give her something practical that we can end off on. I think you need more time with one of the mediums like Michelle, because it sounds like this is a cluster F, okay?
Well,
you know,
what I'm going to tell you, because Erik wants me to be very frank, and he says to be very clear. He says what we talked about tonight, about letting go, he says that he really wants you to listen to that.
Yeah, I was listening to that.
Yeah, he says that that's the most practical advice that can be given to you tonight.
Yeah, I was listening.
Yeah.
All right. Listen again, maybe just in case. But I think you need more time for the mediums. I really do.
With love for myself.
With love, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
With love.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Family. And also, if you're still listening, I want you to listen to, go to YouTube and type in The Little Soul and the Sun, S-U-N, narrated or narration, I can't remember. It's a children's book, but it probably explains your family. Okay, it's so freaking powerful. It's written by the same guy who wrote The Conversation with God.
Oh yes, Neil Donald Walsh.
Neil Donald Walsh, and it is a children's book, so it's like just look past that and get the kernel of wisdom from it, because it explains so much about life and about what you are going through. So, okay. 712 area code. What's up? How you doing?
Hi, this is Sandra from Iowa.
Hi, Sandra from Iowa.
Hi, Michelle. Hi, Elisa. Hi, Erik.
Hi. How can we help you?
I love you guys.
We love you.
We love you too.
Oh man. Okay, I'm in the middle. Well, yeah, kind of in the middle of a flare-up of pancreas. And Elisa, you've done just some amazing work with me, and some huge things have occurred since my portal work and my scalar work with you, and my service with Michelle. But right now I'm in the middle of a flare. I thought maybe some clarification, some clarity could come from this at this time while I'm on the call.
Wait, what kind of pancreatic problem do you have? I can't remember.
Yeah, no problem. It's hypertriglyceridemia. But
oh yeah, right.
You know, I usually have flare-ups with stress, and there was work was pushing me into going back on the floors. I'm a doing floor nursing, and it's just it really kind of throws me off. And so it seems like when I get pushed, and I kind of it's sort of a voluntold thing, then I get sick. But I'm pretty sure that has something to do with this. But I'm also wondering, pathophysiologically or spirit-wise, if there's anything to gain from the moment.
Can I ask you, have you ever considered being a traveling nurse?
It's not the direction. I did it one time. You're dead spot on. I did it one time. I started in the ICU, but it's not the direction I'm going anymore. I have other plans, and I'll be sharing those with you soon, Elisa.
Okay, baby. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Eric. Take it on, baby.
Yeah, you're exactly right, because the very first thing Erik brought forward when he started talking is nerves. And so he's just going into nerves and imbalance, because he says when you go into stress, that's the body's reaction. So he says that it's tied to a couple things. He says one of the ones spiritually is it's connected to freedom for you. Feeling freedom, and he says, and you've already kind of got these ideas. It's about where you're stepping into, because he says that you're headed into new connections on your path, new connections, and he says you'll be doing something different. And he talks about the ideas that you already have.
What about locum nursing, locum tenens nursing? And so you can say, I don't want that position. I'll take this one. Yeah, I don't want to go there. So you can have some freedom. Would that be of interest to you?
Well, the ball is already in great motion, Elisa, and so much work has taken place that I can't wait to share with you. And Erik and Michelle have received a lot of praise, and you have received a lot of praise. You'll find out soon what's going on.
Okay, good.
Erik,
he says that that's exactly it. He says now, one thing that he says is in your energy to look at is, he says, because what you're doing and moving ahead with, he's like doing like that, bravo. But he says there's an energy of guilt that comes up. So with, when they put pressure on you, as he says, and this is, again, he goes, it's a letting go thing. Being okay with the next stages and being able to let go, because he says some of the energy gets held into the pancreas area, and he says, and that's connected to the immune system. And he says, when the immune system, the nerves, says when the immune system gets overstimulated, that's why it affects you in that area. So he says, be okay with looking at anything where you feel any guilt or any pressure or discomfort, and he said, look at the steps of the things that we talked about with letting go today, and to kind of help you let go.
I will tell you that you are the complete sovereign. You have complete sovereignty of your energy. Okay, nobody can access your energy without your express permission. So to reclaim your energy, it's yours and yours alone. Also, I want you to look into low-dose naltrexone, because that normalizes the immune system. LDN doctors think everyone should be on LDN. I am, and my little dog is, and it stops pathologic inflammation. And so I really want you to consider that. Doctors don't know about it. Big pharma is going to for everyone, and so the doctors are going to poo-poo it all off. But I'm telling you, you really need to consider it. You can Google, find an LDN doctor, and get it by telemedicine. It's $46 a month. It's called the Why Not drug, because it's so safe. So really consider that, babe. Okay, but email me. We'll talk. Okay.
Awesome. You guys are so great. I love you all. I love everyone on the call.
You're even better. Awesome. You're better. Thank you guys for joining us on this radio show. Oh my God! Look, Michelle. What can I say? Okay. Seriously, thehealing-art.com. It'll be in the description box. You guys have a lovely rest of the week. I love you all. Bye.
Love you.
Love you, Erik.
Love you, Mom. Love you. Bye.
My baby. I love you.
Love you, Mom.